Health Improvement Center. Welcome to our explainer video. If you're watching this, you're probably at home, you want to know more about nutrition response testing and what goes on here at Sheehan Natural Health Improvement Center, and so we're going to go over that. But before we do that, I want to go over with you, I think it's important if you know what my intent is and why I do what I do, why we do what we do here at Sheehan Natural Health Improvement Center. So when I was 17, I was playing soccer. I leaned forward, I heard a loud snap, and my back went out, and I instantly lost strength, and I just fell to the ground. My teammates helped me off the field. I hobbled to my car, drove home, and I did what a lot of people do. I don't do it anymore, but I did what a lot of people do, is I took some meds. I think I took like Tylenol and Advil or a muscle relaxer or something like that, thinking, okay, well, I hurt my back, and I'll take this medicine, and medicine makes problems go away. Okay, I know that's the way I used to think. And so I took it, and I woke up, and I was worse. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I drove to school the next day. I kind of had to drive like this because I couldn't bend forward. I couldn't lean backwards. I couldn't bend forward. I couldn't do it. I could barely sit. I was in agony all day. And so I did that, and I went to go see my coach. Remember I said I was in soccer, and he said, you need to get adjusted. And I said, no, I'm not getting adjusted. I was scared of chiropractors. But he said, if you don't get adjusted and you don't fix this, okay, you're not going to be able to play in a big game on Wednesday. We had a big game. Okay, it was against Newburgh, who was our rival. And so I was like, I got to play. And so I mustered up all my courage, and I went to see the local chiropractor. I walked in there, and he asked me to bend forward, and I went like this. He said, bend backwards, and I went like this. And I know what he was thinking. He was thinking, oh my gosh, this big kid is in a lot of pain, and I don't know what to do. Or maybe he wasn't thinking that, if he's watching this video. He said, all right, lay down on the table. And I said, I can't just get on a table. And he said, well, let's do our best. And I fell. I just fell onto the table. I was like, and I just fell forward, whoop, and I got on the table. Okay, he put me on my side, he adjusted me, and I felt my back go back into place. And I was like, instantly, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, whoa, I have no more pain. And I got up and I just walked around. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. And I said, what's wrong? What was wrong? He said, well, your back was out of place. I said, well, what did you do? And he goes, I just put it back in place. I was like, well, that's kind of common sense. I was like, why doesn't everybody do that? And he goes, I don't know. So right then, I knew I wanted to go into the medical field. And I thought that chiropractors were actually just like medical doctors, but we put bones back in place to alleviate pain. And so that's how I got into chiropractic. I went through college, went immediately to chiropractic school, and that was the end of the chiropractic story. However, before I went to chiropractic school, I had always been kind of a sick kid. I had asthma, allergies, I had chronic bronchitis a number of times. I had something called trench mouth once. I had inflamed lymph nodes. I had all sorts of immune system problems growing up. So before I went into chiropractic school, I went to Mexico. When I went to Mexico, I got really, really ill. I got some kind of foodborne illness. When I came back to the United States, they said I had salmonella poisoning. And everybody knows what salmonella is. It is a deadly, deadly thing. It can kill you. It did not kill me, but it really destroyed my digestive tract. Okay, about a month after I had it, I started developing back pain. And this time, it was very severe, okay? And I went to go see the chiropractor, but this time, when I went to get chiropractic adjustments, it didn't help. Okay, or it helped, and then basically the pain just came right back, and I said, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I saw that chiropractor, and I said, how come this doesn't alleviate all the pain? And he said, well, when you go to chiropractic school, they'll give you lab tests, x-rays, orthopedic and neurological findings, and they'll figure out exactly what's going on, they'll fix you up. So I went to chiropractic school, and I got adjusted, and I got a thorough workup, and they said, you just need to be adjusted. So I got adjusted, and it didn't help. Okay, so that was the first semester. I went in for a series of adjustments that didn't help. The second semester, the same thing happened. The third semester, the same thing happened. Fourth semester, the same. It kept on going. So for almost 2 years, actually it was over 2 years, it was about 2.5 years I was in this crippling pain. I used to carry around a folding chair because I couldn't sit in the normal chairs. And the school actually built podiums in the back of each class so that I could stand. I was in not excruciating pain, but what was labeled as crippling pain all the time. And I was like, oh gosh. So after 2.5 years, I gave up and I said, this isn't gonna help. I was getting adjusted every day, sometimes 3 times a day, because we were learning how to adjust and everything. I know we're not supposed to do that unsupervised, but we did. So anyway, so it wasn't for lack of adjustments. And I figured, well, I've just got chronic pain. I didn't know anything else could cause it. And so, but at this point, I had also gained about 10 inches on my waist. And I had these dark circles under my eyes. And I had actually lost weight. I mean, I just felt absolutely horrible. And so I said, you know, I might be in pain the rest of my life, but at least I can try to drop the weight down so at least I can go back to looking like healthy, or what I would say normal, because at this point I didn't consider myself looking normal. I mean, I had just bloated up in my stomach. So one of my friends turned me onto a diet called the Zone diet. And I realized when I was reading through there that the carbohydrates that I was eating were like macaroni, beans, rice, bread, stuff like that. I was like, you know, I don't feel so good when I eat those. You know what? I'm gonna do like it says in this book. I'm actually just gonna cut them out. Well, a week later, okay, I had lost 1 pound, but all my pain was gone. 2 weeks later, I lost another 3 pounds. 3 weeks later, I lost 7 pounds. At that point, I was a little bit scared because my weight loss was accelerating rather than slowing down. And so I doubled what I was supposed to eat. And I kept on losing weight. So all in all, I dropped about 40 pounds. I got rid of all my pain. And I figured this was the thing that worked for me. And I thought I was kind of an isolated case. I was like, well, I must be the only person like this. But then I graduated, I got out into practice, and I saw that some people got better from chiropractic care and some people did not. And when I inquired about the people who didn't get better, I started asking, well, what are you eating? And they were eating the same way that I was, and they were unhealthy. And so I said, I better figure out how to fix this. Otherwise, I'm going to have 50% people better and 50% of people not getting better. And so I went on I was on a mission to figure out everything that I could about nutritional therapy. And that's why I do what I do today. I've studied a million different techniques. I won't name them all, but I still studied a million different techniques, and I settled in on one called nutrition response testing because it takes all of the techniques and it kind of puts them together into one, so that you have a big toolbox to pick from, so nothing can throw me. Okay, so that's why I do what's called nutrition response testing, and that's how I got started. So my mission, okay, is to help as many people as possible live healthier, better lives without the use of drugs and surgery. By the way, I am not anti-drug and I am not anti-surgery, but I think that we should try to go more natural first. That's my approach and that's my belief. So hopefully you share that too. So, okay. So the first thing that we got to look at is when we look at symptoms up here, okay, whenever you have a symptom, it is made up of organ dysfunctions and nutritional deficiencies. Okay, this is very, very important. You always see this. Whenever you have a symptom, you'll have an organ dysfunction and you'll have a nutritional deficiency. Okay, if you have headaches, you'll have an organ dysfunction, usually in the liver or digestive tract, and you'll have a nutritional deficiency associated with those organs. Okay, if you have hormonal imbalances, you'll have an organ dysfunction, usually adrenal, thyroid, pituitary, maybe ovary, and nutritional deficiencies associated with those organs. Fatty acids, vitamin Z, sometimes stuff like that. The list can go on and on. Unless you, in this triad of health, unless you fix the organ dysfunctions and the nutritional deficiencies, the person will not get better. Okay? Now, as an aside, that's how we take care of things. Now, if you go to a medical doctor with, say, blood pressure problems, okay, what are they going to do for you? They will most likely give you blood pressure meds. Will that fix an organ dysfunction or nutritional deficiency? No, it will actually make them worse. And so what will happen is your symptom may go away because it's being suppressed by a med, but if you don't take that med, it will come right back and even worse. Okay? The same thing with pain. You go to a doctor for a headache, okay, what's the organ dysfunction if they give you a painkiller, will that fix an organ dysfunction or a nutritional deficiency? No, it will actually make it worse, which is the reason why we have an opioid epidemic, by the way, and the reason why we have a painkiller epidemic, and the reason why that's one of the best sellers for pain, because pain meds, because of the fact that we don't fix the organ dysfunctions and the nutritional deficiencies. Okay, so that's the reason why we do what we do. We want to fix those things. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Now, the next thing that we have to understand is that if I take your symptom off here, let me see if I can get this off without destroying the thing. Okay, and I put sugar up here. Okay. The reason why we kind of playfully harp on sugar all day long here in my office is because of the fact that sugar actually causes organ dysfunctions and nutritional deficiencies. Sugar puts tremendous pressure and stress on your liver, pancreas, adrenals, and then out into the other organ systems: ovaries, uterus, brain, musculoskeletal system, digestive system. It grows bacteria, yeast, all sorts of things. And it causes severe nutritional deficiencies, especially mineral deficiencies, magnesium, calcium, that kind of stuff, and especially vitamins such as B vitamins, vitamin C, and stuff like that. So sugar is a big problem. Okay, 150 years ago, how much sugar were we eating per year? Anybody know? Anybody know? Do you know?
1 pound maybe?
1 pound. I've seen people say 10 pounds. It doesn't make that much of a difference. How much do we eat per year now?
150?
170. Okay, we have a massive, yeah, I know, right? We have a massive sugar problem. And sugar is causing all these organ dysfunction and nutritional deficiencies. We have other things that are causing problems, but sugar is the big baddie. That is the reason why we harp on this all day long. Okay? We have a sugar handout that we go over with patients. I mean, sugar has been linked to cancer, diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure problems, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, depression, anxiety. I mean, the list goes on and on. Sugar is the big baddie. So if you want to get better, you've got to confront the fact that sugar is part of the big problem. Okay, you've got to basically admit that. Okay, you've got to ask yourself, how is this affecting my life? Okay, how is it affecting my work? How is it affecting my family? Okay, if we don't confront these problems, both in what our symptoms are and the fact that we eat sugar, okay, we're not going to get better. So that's one thing that you need to understand about our program, is that we really harp on sugar. Okay, you know, nicely. It's not like we don't beat you if you eat sugar or something like that. But we teach you actually how to get it out of your food. Okay, we teach you where it is in your food too. Most people don't even know where it is at this point because it's been covered up. But if you're going to get better, we have to confront the fact that sugar is causing a problem as well as the organ dysfunctions and nutritional deficiencies. Unless we take care of those things, people don't get better. Okay. So how do we help? We help with a system called nutrition response testing. Okay. All right. Give me a second here. Okay. Dr. Green, come on up here. Now, can we switch? Can I have you stand over here?
Sure.
I've got kind of a bum wing right now. Okay. So standing here, this is our associate doctor, Dr. Jen. Dr. Jen does all the chiropractic in the office right now while I just do the nutrition. Okay? My lovely wife also does nutrition in the office. Yes. She's smiling from behind the camera. Okay. So standing here, Dr. Jen, Dr. Green, is not under stress. She's healthy, happy, and strong. So let's have you put your arm up. And don't let me push this down. When I push down, she can, just like that. Now, she's strong, but let's say that she had a weakness in her thyroid. Okay? What I do with nutrition response testing is I actually push gently on the skin over the organ. Now, that has the same sympathetic nerve fibers as the organ, so her body will think, oh, we're putting a pressure on this organ, putting a pressure on this organ. Let's say that Dr. Green actually has a slight weakness in her thyroid. If I push down like this, while I put pressure on that skin, she will go weak, okay? That means that we have a weakness there in that thyroid, okay? It's not a diagnosis of hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism or anything. It means that, remember we talked about the organ dysfunction? That's how we find it. Now, how does that work? That seems really weird, okay? And I must admit, it does seem really weird. But also think about it like this, okay? It works on the same principle as hypothermia. If right now it is freezing outside, it's been like -10, -20 with the wind chill at night. If I were to go outside and fall into the river down the street, or the creek down the street, okay, I would get hypothermia within moments, okay, or maybe minutes. Basically, the blood would rush from my extremities back to my core to save my core organs, so I didn't die. The same thing happens when I put pressure on stressed organs. Hold the right arm up. If I put pressure over the thyroid, her body says, oh, he's putting pressure on that thyroid, and so we better shunt all the energy and blood flow back to that thyroid, away from the limbs, and go weak. Okay? That is the reason why it works. Okay, that's how it works. Now we can check the whole body like that. We can check the brain. I always like to say, oh, it's still there. Brain. You can check the brain, check the thyroid, like I said. The lungs, you can put your hand over your chest for your heart. Heart, you can put that down. The spleen, pancreas, stomach, liver, gallbladder, and so on. That's how we figure out what the organ dysfunction is. Now, once we figure out what organ dysfunction is, each organ tends to have a certain food source, okay? For example, the thyroid tends to like essential fatty acids and minerals. And so what I do we have the test kit here? 1 second. Okay, so to understand this part, Dr. Green's body actually has an electromagnetic field around it. I know, right? So amazing. It's not like a force field or anything like that. It's not something from the comic books. But our bodies run on electricity. Anything that runs on electricity has an electromagnetic field. This was taught to us in physics class. Now, I know you remember physics class, but anything that runs on electricity, you don't remember it? Oh, yeah, well, it does. Your electromagnetic field generated by your autonomic nervous system, the nerves in your autonomic nervous system, comes out to about there, okay? And your body actually takes information in from that electromagnetic field. Now, we have these super concentrated food sources here in bottles, okay? These also have an electromagnetic field, all right? It's much smaller than the body, but it still has one, okay? Now, I know what you're thinking. People say, how can that energy get through the glass? Well, it's just like the energy that comes from the sun. Okay, the sun is 93 million miles away, but we can actually feel the heat and warmth from the sun over here, okay? It's also just like radio waves, frequencies and stuff like that. We have lots of electromagnetic radiation and stuff like that, actually that goes right through walls and everything like that, okay? So this is just something that happens, okay? It's standard in physics. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, okay? So when I put this in her field, in her electromagnetic field, okay, generated by her nerves and her autonomic nervous system, if this basically will support that thyroid, go ahead and hold it. You can put it right over your heart, okay? And this one, by the way, for our argument's sake, does not support her thyroid. So when I put pressure on her thyroid, she will go weak. This one right there that I just grabbed 2 seconds ago was called osteoplex, which is for your bones, okay? But there's another one called organically bound minerals. Now, organically bound minerals are super concentrated kelp and alfalfa. In fact, each pill, a little quiz question, each pill is the equivalent of 1 pound of kelp and alfalfa. See if you could eat that a day. No, don't do that. Just take a pill. It's much easier. Cheaper too. But thyroids tend to love this nutrition. So I put this in her hand, I hold it, and then I put my hand, pressure on her thyroid, and she goes nice and strong. That's how you figure out what the deficiency is, okay? So first, organ dysfunction, then nutritional deficiency. Thank you, Dr. G.
You're welcome.
She's always such a big help. Anyway, so that's how we figure it out. Now, what I can tell you is that's nutrition response testing. Once we figure out what the organ dysfunction is and the nutritional deficiency is, we develop what's called a design clinical nutrition program. This is a very specific program just for you, okay? It is not for anybody else. I have seen thousands upon thousands of patients come in here. I've seen hundreds of people come in with headaches. You know how many people I've seen with the same program? 0. Everybody is different. Just like we look different, we're different sizes, shapes, hair color, personality. We all have different nutritional deficiencies and needs, okay? That has to be met. A lot of companies right now, they say take this for this, or this for this, or this for this. And if we use a little bit of common sense, that doesn't take into account the individuality of the patient. That's what we do with nutrition response testing. It is, it's about building your overall health. Okay, so it may take a while, okay? How long will it take? We're gonna go over that in the next video, but how long will it take depends on how severe the person's deficiencies are, how long they've been there, and how severe the symptoms are. Okay, so it could take, I mean, when someone comes in with an acute cold, usually they feel better in a couple days, versus like when I had Lyme disease, it really took me several months before I felt better. It's safe and natural. We use super concentrated food sources from Standard Process, Systemic Formulas, and some other supplement companies. And so they are safe for the young and the old. Our oldest patient that we had in here was Alma. I haven't seen her in a couple of years now. She was 94. And the youngest one was Elam, who was actually, I think he was about 3 months when he came in here. Both of them did incredible, okay? I love seeing people do great. So it's safe and natural for the young and old. Also, because it's food, it's super concentrated food, there are no drug interactions, okay? So it's safe to use with drugs and medications. It's also, because it's food, okay, you can use it for pregnancy and lactating, okay? So it's safe for everybody. So at this point, what we want to do is we want to have you fill out that questionnaire below here, and then we can call you to make your appointment. Okay. In the next video, we're going to go over commonly asked questions about nutrition response testing and our program here at Sheehan Natural Health Improvement Center. Thanks.